Hello and welcome. Welcome back to the course Learning Azure Databricks. In this lecture, we'll continue to build data pipelines using Delta Live tables. Earlier, I used PySpark method. Now I'm going to go ahead and use the SQL method. So in this method, you will learn how to get your Delta Live tables created using the SQL and use them for your deployments. So without any further ado, let's get started. So here I am inside my workspace. So I hold two of the datasets, that is employee.csv file, the department.csv file, kept as part of my volume inside my default schema and as part of my learning workspace. So from these datasets, I'm going to go ahead and build tables, that is Delta Live tables. So for this, earlier we have used PySpark method. For that, I've used the documentation. And in order to go ahead and build the similar Delta Live tables, I'm going to go ahead and use the SQL method. So where I can get the reference for it. So we can navigate to Delta Live tables. For this, I'm going to use the SQL method. So you can see here under the Databricks documentation, you can refer to Delta Live table, the SQL language reference. And if you scroll down, you will get the syntax that can help you to get your Delta Live tables created. So it is for your tables as well as for your views. And if you scroll down, you will find some examples. So it is create or refresh your live tables followed by the name of the table, and you select your data from the location and so on. So following the same syntax, I'm going to go ahead and get the Delta Live tables created and then get deployed to create my data pipelines. So using this documentation, what did I do? I did go ahead and once again broken down into 3 layers, the building of Delta Live tables. So one layer, as you are aware, it is the bronze layer, followed by the silver layer, and followed by the gold layer. So as part of the bronze layer, I have focused on creating 2 Delta Live tables. One table focuses on employee and the other table focuses on department. So I did go ahead and create a streaming live table, which is basically given a name called employee. Same way, create streaming live table involving department. And it is expected to go ahead and pull the data from this location where I've used the cloud files references. As part of the cloud file references, I gave the location where it has kept or where exactly it can pull the data and the type of object that I'm using for pulling out the data. So it is the employee.csv file. I had kept the data, which is part of my volumes under my workspace, followed by default schema, name of my volume, and the file. If you're not sure about this path, you can just navigate to your employee.csv file. If you click on this copy file path, you will get the file path for your objects, which is similar, which is exactly the copy for your cloud files reference. So I'm getting the 2 tables created as part of my bronze layer. Now, the bronze layer typically gives the reference of your raw data sets. Now, from there, what I wanted was to go ahead and handle the process data at the silver layer. So at the silver layer, I have applied a transformation. Basically, I did go ahead and join them. So at the silver layer, I did go ahead and create another table, which is create streaming live table, silver table, which is basically a join table. For this joining, I had to follow a condition, that is the common column between the employee and the department. So what did I do? I did go ahead and created the silver table where it is exactly expected to go ahead and follow a property. The property was basically the joining condition. So I did go ahead and selected the columns from the employee ID, employee name, employee department, and the salary, which is in line to that of the department and the department table, where the condition should be that on the departments of the employee should match to the department ID of the department table. So, which was expected to go ahead and give me a table at the silver layer. At the silver layer, I did go ahead and apply a transformation that basically joins these two tables together and give me the expected outcome in the form of a new delta life table. So once this layer has generated the table that I need, this outcome of this table I've given as an input for the gold layer. So at the gold layer, once again, I did go ahead and created a delta life table, which is the layer where I have ran a query. That query is basically expected to give me the outcome in the form of the average salaries of the department. So I want the average salary to be calculated and the department name to be calculated, and I've given a query for it. That is, I want to select the salary, the department name from the employee, which is the silver table, because as I said, the outcome from the silver layer, as it is a pipeline, so I'm expecting the outcome from this silver layer will be an input for your gold layer. So I've taken the gold layer and I have gone ahead and created a delta life table, which is basically given a name called average salary by department, where I have taken the average salary and the average salary and given a name that is average salary by department. So in this table, I am having two columns. One is the average salary, given a name that is average salary by department, followed by the department name, which is expected to go ahead and give me the outcome. And I did concluded it by taking the department name and grouped it. So in a simple summary, this command at the gold layer is expected to get executed, and this command executed, the SQL command executed, will go ahead and give me a table which basically holds at one column the average salary and the department name grouped by the department name. For this salary to process, I need the output from the silver table. So the output from the silver table, the output from the silver layer, the table from the silver layer will become the input for my gold layer. So that's how I have constructed the pipeline. So these are the two tables, which basically are the raw tables. They become the input for my silver table. The silver table get processed to go ahead and give me a new table, that is the joined table. And the outcome from this joined table from the silver layer will become the input for the gold layer as part of the pipeline, and does go ahead and give me another table, and where I should have two columns. One is the average salary and the department, which is getting grouped by the department name. So if I have been able to get these tables pulled into a deployment, that's how I'll be able to see a pipeline getting generated, the data pipeline getting generated. So we will go ahead and get this entire pipeline deployed, and we would go ahead and build a pipeline from this SQL method of creating the data pipelines. So what is that we will do? We will get started to go ahead and deploy it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get started to deploy this entire deployment against the delta life tables. So for this, I need to go ahead and pull out the delta life tables and go ahead and click on this create pipeline. So once this create pipeline is offered, so we'll get to see the create pipeline. So let's go ahead and give the name, that is employee department DLT, and the pipeline method, this time using SQL. So I'm creating this entire method using SQL. So I would recommend you to continue to use the advanced version, and it is a continuous pipeline. And let's go ahead and give the reference for the path. So let's go ahead and give the path where I kept this. So under the users, under my username, I have this employee with regards to delta life table using SQL, and it is a Unity catalog that I'll give the destination, and I will go ahead and give it to my workspace, and the schema would be the default schema, and the compute policy in this scenario shall be once again a fixed size, and the number of workers, let's keep it as equal to 2. So let's go ahead and keep it as equal to 2, and make sure that you have the type of instances that are allowed in your environment. So in my case, it is DS3v2. I'm selecting, and also making sure the driver type is equal to the worker type. So with all these details given as an input, I should get to see a pipeline getting generated. So as you are aware, this pipeline generally takes about up to 10 minutes. So be very much sure about the creating of the pipeline. Just walk through one more time. So you should be giving a name, followed by the type of model that you want to use, continuous or triggered, followed by the path, followed by the Unity catalog, where you are to want to write your destination into, followed by the cluster policies, and make sure that you have enough sizes. That is DS3v2 is the size that I have. So if all of this is done, let's go ahead and create and get started. So based upon this create and get started, this process is expected to take around about 10-15 minutes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and let off this recording to take another 10-15 minutes, and I'm going to resume back after 10 minutes once this pipeline completed. Okay, so I'm back here. So finally, it's good to see that the employee department Delta Life table has been up, and this time we had used the SQL method, and the SQL method is also successful in getting the entire data pipeline. So let's have a quick view to understand this data pipeline. So it is that I have started to get at the layered approach. Following the layered approach, I had taken 3 layered approach following the Mendelian architecture. The first table was at the bronze layer. I had an employee table, and following to that, I had a department table. And these two tables have joined together via a common condition, and that's how I have handled the silver layer. At the silver layer, I have created a new table, which is employee with department underscore silver table. That is basically the table pulling the data from department bronze layer, employee from the bronze layer, and having a common condition with uh, uh, employee department ID which is common in both of them. So once the department ID conditions get satisfied, it turns out to be a new data frame, and that gets us the new Delta Life table. And once this silver Delta Life table is handled at the silver layer, we are turning into the gold layer. And at the gold layer, we are expecting a new table to be created, basically taking the input with regards to your silver table and getting the outcome in the form of the gold layer silver table, a gold layer table. And as part of the gold layer, I'm expecting a query to get executed. And that query expectation is that it should go ahead and give me the average salaries by the given department and also group by the department. So let's have a quick walkthrough into the tables. So in order to view out the tables, you can navigate to the catalog. Under the catalog, you should get to see your workspace, navigate to your workspace and open up your default schema. You should get to see tables that are 4 in number exactly, and you will see the 4 tables. One is your employee table, which is at the bronze layer, department table, once again at your bronze layer, followed by this employee with department, which is a joint table at the silver layer. And then we are concluding at the gold layer, which is expected to go ahead and give us the average salary by the department. So in order to go ahead and view the outcome, we can go ahead and now once again utilize the SQL editor capabilities. For this, you need to have your SQL data warehouse running. So make sure your SQL data warehouse is running. So I'll just go ahead and initiate the SQL data warehouse into another tab so that it can be used to go ahead and run our query. So let me go ahead and quickly start my SQL data warehouse. And it's in a stop mode. I'm just getting it started. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and read the data from my from the silver table is done. Now I'm going to go ahead and read the data from my gold table. That is the average department by salary. So for this, let me go ahead and use a new query. So I'm just dropping this query. For this, let me go ahead and put out a new query. And the new query goes something like this. I would like to go ahead and do a selection for the data from which table? The average salary table. So average salary by department, which is at the gold layer. So I want to go ahead and execute against the SQL data warehouse, which is serverless, and I'm running it. So I should go ahead and expect a new table, and that table should have 2 columns, one column with the department ID and the other one department name, and the other one is about your department, which is the average salary by department. So you can clearly check I have been successful in getting my data pipeline created using the Delta Life table. And for this, I'm able to get the outcome in the form of average salary department and the department name, which I've given as part of my delta live table when I have written as part of my delta live table a query. So let me also revisit the query one more time so that it will be very easy. So it starts with the selection of the average salary by department, followed by the department name, which is expected to get the data pulled from the silver table. So silver table got created because of the bronze layer tables that I had created at the bronze layer level involving employee and department. So that's how powerful your data pipelines are, and that's how they are useful in building a complete structure involving data pipelines, creating the delta live tables. So once your practice is done, make sure that you also bring them down. So I hope you should be also able to go ahead and create your delta live tables. If it is, have a quick walkthrough through this setup that are how I followed and get your delta live tables created. And once you are done, I would request you to drop them. So if you navigate to the delta live tables under the data engineering, you will see the three dots, and following that you will see there is a delete option. Just delete it, and it should not take more than a minute or two to get these delta live tables deleted. So if you are able to get these delta live table deleted, then there won't be any charges for you. Make sure you delete them after your practice. So the main purpose of this entire lecture was to go ahead and get the delta live tables created using the SQL method and get your data pipelines up and running. I hope I was able to achieve it, and I hope you should also be able to achieve the same at your end. That's all for this lecture. Thank you for watching. See you in the next lecture. Thank you.